Good morning this morning, Buckeye Nation. It's Buckeye Boggs, aka the Pod Father, with a nice little Saturday morning news update. It's been a big week. Been a big week for Buckeye fans, yeah? Monday night, national championship, and we got about 24 hours to celebrate it. Maybe 48 if you were ignoring the news. And the news just comes fast and furious from the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. And so we're going to review all of that for you this morning in this video. Make sure to like the video. Give me a comment or two down in the comment section of this video. That way we can help bump it out in the algorithm and shoot it out to more Buckeye fans so they can find the OHIO podcast like you have. And if you're new to the channel or if you enjoy watching the videos and you haven't subscribed already, what are you doing? It's free. Subscribe to the channel. Absolutely. Shout out to my nephew Connor, goes to the University of Indy. Had his redshirt freshman year this year and will be was sized for their conference championship rings. So that's what we're drinking our this morning's beverage from this morning, a little U of Indy cup. Division 2, in case you're wondering. The Greyhounds. Okay, let's get right into it, guys. So let's talk about this past Tuesday evening. We did a video where we went through who might be leaving and who might be staying based on the juniors. We threw out 6 names. We threw out 3 guys who we thought um, had NFL potential, and 3 guys who we thought might get poached in the transfer portal based off of inactivity and playing time. So, we got some news on that. So let's dive right into that first and foremost here. All right, let's start here. Quinsean Judkins going pro. Not surprised. Myself, Chris, Corey, we all kind of expected this to happen. We thought Quinsean was going to turn pro, and here's why. Let's be honest here. He had a ton of carries at Ole Miss, over 400 to be exact. I think it was closer to 450 in his first 2 years as freshman and sophomore at Ole Miss. Transfers to Ohio State. That number gets under 200 because he shared the load with Travion Henderson. And now that I think about it, it might have been closer to 500 carries at his time at Ole Miss. Now that I'm thinking about it. Anyways, um, anyways, you're looking at somewhere upwards of 750 carries in college football already. Somewhere 700, 750, somewhere in that number. Um, that's a lot. That is a lot. And when you're a running back, there's only so many carries in your body, right? There's only so much tread on those tires, I think is what a lot of people say when it comes to running backs. And so if he's going to spend another year in college, then I think the NFL scouts are going to kind of go, I don't know if we should take this guy or not. He's probably maxed out his ceiling and value for the NFL draft now. And if you're a running back, the money's not necessarily in that first contract. The money is always getting to that second contract in the NFL as a running back. And if you are spending your first 4 years in college carrying the load for 1,000 carries, you're really taking a risk there. You're really risking with the potential of reaching that second contract and being healthy enough to cash in. So not surprised that Quinsean is turning pro here, um, and wish him nothing but the best. And he did give a little shout out there. You can see it if you can read it. He gave a little shout out there to Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss guys. And Lane Kiffin has been salty. He is one salty guy lately. All them players that left Ole Miss came to Ohio State and won national championships. We'll get to another one in a minute. Let's go to Sonny Styles. So Sonny Styles is going to come back as predicted. We all thought he would I think, in all honesty, he could have turned pro and probably would have been picked up somewhere in, I would say, the third round. He has great measurables, tremendous size, a good genetics. Lorenzo Styles Senior's his daddy. Could have been, I think, a third round picks. Maybe fourth is the grade that some people are giving him. First year at linebacker, has experience playing safety. That versatility, I think, is very attractive to NFL scouts, along with those measurables, his size, speed, etc. He's going to be, I think he's going to be a great pro, but he's learning the position. He needs another year, I think, of seasoning. Plus, he came to Ohio State a year early. Remember, he graduated high school a year early. Had enough credits to graduate after his junior year, so he was on campus as an 18-year-old at college. So even though he's going to stay and graduate from Ohio State and have 4 years at Ohio State, he's going to basically be the same age as the majority of people who are going to be graduating or leaving college for the NFL early as juniors, anyways. So, same age group. So, I think this is a smart move on his part. Plus, as we pointed out Sunday night, he's probably going to start with his brother, Lorenzo Styles Jr., in the backfield next year. And what mom and dad wouldn't love to see that. So, very cool for the Styles brothers next year, and glad to have Sonny back for 2025. Also coming back, we mentioned Ole Miss had a couple guys leave their program, come to Ohio State and win national championship. Davison Igbinosun's coming back. According to according to Pete Thamel of ESPN, Iggy told ESPN he's going to be returning for his senior season. I think this is a smart move on his part. Way too handsy. Had way too many pass interference penalties. But I love his physicality. He's just got to learn how to. He's got to learn how to use that physicality without crossing the line and it becoming a detriment to his play. And so another year of seasoning will be good for him. Again, this is a guy who started as a freshman, got a ton of playing time as a freshman for Ole Miss. Came to Ohio State after his freshman year and played last year, played this year, and now is going to be expected to be one of, if not one of the better defensive backs for Ohio State next year. So Davison Igbinosun going to be that CB1 is what, obviously. And I love what he says here. He's coming back to school to be a first round draft pick. So he's not hiding what his goals are here. Probably would have been somewhere around a fifth rounder, in my opinion. I think way too handsy, but can he become a first round? We'll see what kind of year he has. See what kind of year he's able to get. So, if you're keeping track, out of the three guys who we said had draft potential who were juniors, two of them are coming back. One is going pro. Kind of what we predicted. So, we were on that path. Now, the other three guys we brought up as possible transfers, haven't heard nothing from. We did lose Hero Canoe. Hero Canoe has entered the transfer portal since Tuesday night. Kind of surprised by that. Was in line to get a lot more playing time next year, going into his senior year here at Ohio State, or redshirt junior year, fourth year on campus. Would he have started? I don't think so. Would he been into too deep? I believe so. But it looks like he's going to go find a place to become a starter. So, such is life, right? Such is life. All right. Now, the other news that was incredibly interesting was how all of a sudden you had some serious poaching happening, some tampering going on with Ohio State's roster. Not surprised. It is the Wild West. Ryan Day was interviewed and asked about on national television about some of the reports that there were some schools coming after some of his players who had not entered the transfer portal yet, Biggest names being at the wide receiver position, Jeremiah Smith, who will be a sophomore, and Carnell Tate, who will be a junior. Now that Emeka Egbuka has is going on to pursue his professional career in the NFL. You have two of those three starters coming back, and two of the better wide receivers in the nation. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith being head and shoulders the best one in college football. Many thinking he would have been a top 5 pick in this year's draft, even though he's 18 years old. There's no reason to believe that that isn't the case or would be the case with him, but some major tampering going on. The rumor was is that Oregon had offered Carnell Tate $1 million. Carnell Tate's girlfriend, I believe, is on the track team in Oregon. By the way, Oregon has far and away the best track program in college football. Um, it's Nike. I mean, it's where basically the Nike shoe and track and field was born, essentially in the United States. So, not surprised by that. But if that is true, that Oregon was going after Carnell Tate and was offered him $1 million, that is illegal to do, by the way, to tamper with someone else's player who's not in the transfer portal. Um, if that's true, who's on Oregon's roster that Ohio State would like to go offer some money to? Because here's the thing: if we go out there and we offer, let's say we offer one of their players $1 million, and they're not, guess what Oregon's going to have to do? They're going to have to up their NIL money for that player. It becomes a bargaining ploy, and so all's fair in love and war. Get ready. I tried to warn everybody Ohio State and Oregon was going to become a great rivalry in the Big Ten. We're seeing it happen, and it's more so than anything, it's happening in the NIL world. And of course, the Ohio State Oregon games this year were two of the better games and that were viewed by all college football fans. So here we go. Welcome to the Big Ten. The Ducks and Bucks, right? And of course, Jeremiah Smith apparently was getting offered upwards of $4.5 million. I believe it was Miami, more than likely, who was going after him. He is a South Florida guy. And some interesting tweets came out yesterday. So these were a couple tweets that were sent out. And so and they're kind of cryptic tweets, but I think Ohio State fans are taking these positively. Jay Winbrough, by the way, Jay Winbrough, if you don't know who this fella is, he is a marketing individual in South Florida who works with the South Florida Express 11 or 7-on-7 All-Star team. It's where Brian Hartline goes down and does some of his best recruiting. Okay, and Jay Winbrough is a bigwig there, and and a lot of these players respect him, and he has been one of the reasons why Brian Hartline and the Ohio State recruiting coaches have been able to go down to South Florida and get some of this great talent, including Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. Jay Winbrough tweets out, "Ain't gonna happen," talking about the players leaving Ohio State. "That family is too loyal. Good try though." And both Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith respond with thumbs up and 100%. So it would appear Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are safe and are not going to be leaving the program. Like I mentioned on Tuesday, and like we will talk about in the next story here in a second, what is happening is negotiations. You have agents now involved in these players and with teams, and these agents can send out messages to players or players' parents, like Ryan Day stated in the interview. Schools can just say, "Hey, would your son be interested in X amount of dollars to come play at so and so university?" Right? Or to an agent, would your client be interested in an $800,000 NIL deal, or a $750,000 NIL deal, or in Cardell Tate's case, a $1 million NIL deal to Oregon, or in Jeremiah Smith's case, a $4.5 million NIL deal to come back home. And And then these players are going to go, they're going to go back to, or their agents will go back to, or family members will go back to Ryan Day, or the collective, whoever's in charge of the collective who they've been collecting NIL from, and they're going to say to him, "We were just offered 4.5 million from Miami or 1 million from Oregon, etc." And so then Ryan Day has to sit down with the collective, Ross Bjork, and say, "All right, here's what the player is being offered. What can we match? What can we offer in exchange?" And it's not always the same amount of money because listen, they might come back and say, "We think they're pulling your leg. It's really not that much. Here's what we're willing to offer for you to stay and continue to be developed by Brian Hartline and go be a first round draft pick." Right? So these negotiations happen. Um, I'm willing to bet that Carnell Tate got somewhere close to 1 million, maybe a little less, maybe somewhere around 800,000 for Ohio State to stay home. And Jeremiah Smith is probably somewhere in the ballpark of 2.5 million, maybe to stay this season. And you say, well, why wouldn't he go take more money? Because Brian Hartline's not there. Like, how do you put a price tag on being developed by the best position coach at your position in all of college football, to be developed by this coaching staff in this facility, to have this culture that you love and respect and are flourishing in, right? So Ohio State does not have to, quote unquote, match. Sometimes they will, sometimes they'll beat it, but they don't always have to. But that's a part of the negotiations that are going on. We'll find out down the road what their NIL deal is here. But keep in mind, Ohio State does not have an infinite NIL dollar amount. No one does, okay? Outside of maybe Oregon right now, where Phil Knight has basically a blank check to try to go win a national championship, it seems like. Most college programs have a number, whatever that number is, and they have to understand that they have to allocate that to three things: player retention, transfer portal players, and recruits. And Ohio State is allocating the majority of that NIL money, which was last year 20 million, to player retention. Somewhere in the ballpark of 75 to 80% of NIL is being used for player retention. And then a large chunk is also being utilized for um, transfer portal, and a slight amount is being used for recruiting. So somewhere in the ballpark of, I would say, 70%. I'm just to guess here, and it is just a guess, but based off the conversations I've had, somewhere in the ballpark of 70% player retention, 20% transfer portal, 10% recruiting. To give you an idea. But that is just it, well, that's just with NIL. Now let's talk about coaches, right? So the big news coming out is that Jim Knowles, and rightfully so, is getting courted big time by Oklahoma, Penn State, and Notre Dame. Notre Dame just lost Al Golden, their defensive coordinator, to the Cincinnati Bengals, and Marcus Freeman, his first phone call was to the agent of Jim Knowles. Rightfully so. Dude just beat you in a national championship game, right? He saw those adjustments Jim Knowles and that defense made after that first drive that lasted 9.5 minutes. And so Jim Knowles reportedly was offered $3 million to leave Ohio State and become the new defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. And apparently Penn State has offered similar amount. Now, I have not heard the exact dollar amount. I've heard somewhere in the ballpark of 3 to 3.2 million from Oklahoma, and I would say Penn State's probably doing the same thing. Currently, Jim Knowles makes 2.5, I believe, $1 million. Is somewhere on there is his deal. It's over 2 million. He's the highest paid assistant coach in college football, and with the amount of bonuses he got from winning the national championship, he made roughly somewhere around $3 million this year to be the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. So it's not like he's going to be offered more money. I mean, some of it was incentive based, and I'm sure those schools will also offer incentives to win a national championship, etc. But let's be honest, Oklahoma ain't going to be winning a national championship anytime soon. Sorry, Sooners, you're not. You're not very good. Penn State, better opportunity there. They have a lot of players coming back, very similar to what Ohio State just experienced this year, Michigan the year before. A lot of experts are leaning towards Penn State being the team to beat in the Big Ten, but there's a problem with that. Penn State's head coach is still James Franklin, and James Franklin is going to continue to do James Franklin things until he proves me wrong. So I don't think that's necessarily an option. Then you have the rumor with this that Jim Knowles' fiance doesn't want to live in Columbus and she wants to live in Oklahoma, and that's the narrative that's being pushed by those in the Oklahoma media. Is there some truth to that? I'm guessing maybe. Sounds legitimate, right? Um, but we shall see. Does Jim Knowles want to leave a stable situation where he has 2 more years on his contract, where he can make roughly $2.5 to $3 million based off incentives? Is probably going to get a raise if he stays, close to $3 million to stay in Columbus, coaching a roster full of 4 and 5 star guys, where he has a better chance of winning a national championship. Or does he want to go back to Oklahoma? Remember, he coached at Oklahoma State for 3 years before coming to Ohio State back in 2022. Does he want to go back to Oklahoma to be, I guess, close to his fiance and maybe be out of a job in a year? Or does he think, can I go there? Brent Venables gets fired in a year and I become the head coach there. Thing about it is, I just don't see Jim Knowles being the kind of guy who wants to be the head coach again. And I don't know that Oklahoma would want to hire Jim Knowles to be the head coach, to be 100% honest with you. Jim Knowles is a fantastic coordinator. I don't see head coach personality there. I just don't. He's got a great personality, but it's not exactly head coach material. Okay. He's kind of persnickety, he's kind of crotchety at times. Players love him, you know. The defensive players do, but I mean, you got to be a CEO, and he just does not seem to have that CEO mentality. Chip Kelly will be flat out tell you that that's not what it's all cracked up to be, right? So, and here's the thing too, he's got a 1 point, I think it's 2, might be 1.4, 1 point something million, let's just say 2, $1.2 million buyout. So you're going to be paying in the ballpark, if you pay him $3.1 million, $3.2 million, and then the buyout to Ohio State at 1.2 million, you're going to be paying 4 point some million dollars to be for that coordinator if you want Jim Knowles. Now, what's funny about this is that Oklahoma beat the Rivals Network in Oklahoma. They put out a video on YouTube that Jim Knowles was hired, and they had to retract the video and write a statement. They accidentally they pre-recorded that he was hired. They posted it on YouTube thinking that they hadn't posted it yet, and the dummy made a mistake and posted it, and it went live Thursday evening. So all these Oklahoma fans think Jim Knowles he's here, he's gonna be hired. Wow, what that should tell Jim everything he needs to know about Oklahoma. It's not serious. It's a circus. It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. The further they get away from their national championship, which was a long time ago, the further they get away, the worse that program is getting. And now that they're in the SEC, they're kind of a Mickey Mouse program, man. Like, who's better right now, Oklahoma or Missouri? I'm going with Missouri. Who's better right now, Oklahoma or their rival Texas? That's not even a question. Texas is way better. Who's better right now, Oklahoma or Ole Miss? It's Ole Miss. Who's better right now? Oklahoma or Georgia or Alabama? They're not even top 6 in the SEC right now. Tennessee's even ahead of them. So, and I can make an argument LSU might even be better shape than they are. So Oklahoma's not to me, Jim Knowles, if he looks at this and it's about winning, it's about finances and winning and legacy, he's not going to Oklahoma. If it's about relationship and being happy in that relationship, maybe it will be Oklahoma. But I just don't see Penn State. I just don't. I'm sorry. Like if you're looking at situation and finances, Ohio State's better than Penn State. It just is. Now Notre Dame's intriguing. Notre Dame's an upcoming program. Um, Depending on who you are as a person and the in history and nostalgia and all those things, maybe Notre Dame is kind of intriguing to you. But it seems like this is boiling down to will I stay at Ohio State or do I go to Oklahoma because I have roots there? Remember, he's an East Coast guy, and I think Penn State's leaning on that pretty hard. You can be closer to Philly, you can be closer to the East Coast, which is where he's from. But I mean, how much further of a plane ride is that? 20 minutes from Columbus, Ohio? 30? You know what I mean? It's like you're not jumping in your car still, so and Penn State's incredibly hard to get to. It's just it's not fun. Not a terrible location. I'm leaning towards Jim Knowles is staying. I think Ohio State's going to find the money to keep him around. I think he's an important part of that, and I don't think Ryan Day wants to have to worry about the defensive staff again. But if he does leave, Ryan Day's the cupboard's not bare on what Ryan Day can do defensively, and we might address that. But there's no sense in doing that. But I'll just say this: at this time, there's no sense in doing that. That might be a video we have to make here in a day or two. But right now, there is smoke. That means there's probably fire. How big is the fire? Can Ryan Day put it out? Only time will tell. We'll see. Okay, let's share this article with everybody. Uh, so this morning, I wrote an article for the OHIO podcast website. By the way, if you don't visit the website, you need to do it every single day. What we do, the focus that Chris and I have, we cut through all the fluff, all the clickbait crap that you see all over the internet. We present you the cold hard facts in an article. Sometimes we have opinion pieces, but the majority of what we do are just straight up cold hard facts. Here's the news. Here's what you need to know, and it's not clickbaity, okay? There's nothing worse than seeing a headline, you click on it, and then you read it, and it has nothing to do with the headline, and you got duped because at the end of the day, all those people care about are making sure you click on the article so they get the ad money because that's all they care about. It's terrible, it's dumb, it's the way journalism is moving these days, and it stinks. But listen, we're not here to make money. We're here because this is our passion. And so if we felt it was newsworthy, we will put it on the site. And so I'm going to read to you now the article from this morning about the recruits who are going to be in the shoe tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow at noon, Ohio State celebrates their national championship in the shoe. Chris and I will be there with bells on. We'll be doing some content, making some videos, probably talking with some people uh, and celebrating the national championship with you all. But Ohio State isn't dumb. They're taking this opportunity, and there are some local in-state guys who are coming to celebrate this national championship with them. None bigger than, as you see pictured right here, Maxwell Riley. So Maxwell Riley is going to be in the house. He is a big-time offensive line recruit, but he's not the only one. Adam Guthrie and Sam Greer are also going to be. They are the three big name offensive linemen in the state of Ohio. All three are going to be there tomorrow. By the way, Maxwell Riley has announced he has narrowed down his schools to two, Ohio State and Clemson. So this is a Ryan Day Dabo Sweeney fight for the Avon Lake lineman, who is going to be a special one. Hats off to Justin Fry. All of a sudden, Justin Fry has this amazing year in developing this offensive line. By the way, that's going to be a video all on its own. Let me write that down. The offensive line. What Justin Fry was able to do with an offensive line that had Jimmy Simmons hurt. You lose your center from the transfer portal late in the season. You have to move pieces around, and you got Tager Shabola, who's not performing up to par late in the season. I mean, what an amazing job! And if you ask me my opinion, I think there are three offensive linemen who are going to get drafted off of this roster. I mentioned Jimmy Simmons, who got injured in the Oregon game, who was having an outstanding beginning to his season. I think he gets drafted in the first round. I believe Seth McLaughlin, the center, the Remington winning center, who got hurt late in the season, came from Alabama in the transfer portal. What a great get. He's going to get drafted. He might even be the first center taken in this draft. Donovan Jackson, who moves from left guard to left tackle at the end of the season, has an amazing end to his season. Versatile lineman. He's definitely going to get drafted. I don't know about Josh Fryer. My co-hosts Corey and Chris both think he will. If he does, that's four offensive linemen that are going to get drafted in this draft. Hats off Justin Fry, dude, for some serious offensive line development. And then, oh, by the way, you would think, oh, going into next year, the cupboard's going to be bare. Not so fast. Austin Severveld ended the season playing fantastic at left guard. Carson Hensman jumps in from left guard to the center position and does great. And Luke Montgomery fills in for Tegra and his hiccups. You got three offensive linemen, your interior offensive lineman from a national championship team, returning next year. And then you've already went to the portal and grabbed a couple guys who are going to be able to jump in at the tackle positions. Justin Fry's doing some big time work. So, anyways, long story short, uh, Justin Fry, hats off to you, and you've got three big time recruits from the state of Ohio who are coming to look at the program and possibly be Buckeyes. Capitalize on that. Jacob Weatherspoon will be in house. He's already committed to the Buckeyes. He's a cornerback, and Caden Gebhart, the big time safety from the state of Ohio. He's planning on being there as well. We have a couple other Ohio kids to take a look at. Favor Aki is a running back from right here in Delaware, Ohio. Favor Aki does not have an offer yet, although that might be coming possibly. He is a top 20 back in the nation, four-star recruit, top 200 kid, and is moving upwards. He had 19 touchdowns, 1,600 yards in nine games last year for the Pacers. And then Sincere Johnson, a four-star linebacker, number 7 linebacker in the country in the class of 2026. He's a borderline 100, top 100 recruit. Um, he's got quite the list there. And man, just take a look at who has offered him. Ohio State, Alabama, Notre Dame, A&M, Penn State, Oregon. I mean, that's only thing missing from that is Georgia, really. But he's a stud. He's going to be in attendance as well. And then Coach Locke went on the recruiting trail this week. By the way, some of the coaches actually were doing some visiting. Coach Locke went down to the Lone Star State to visit the number 3 running back recruit in the 2026 class, top 50 recruit, and Jonathan Hatton Jr. So he did an in-house visit with him. Things looks like to me Ohio State is narrowing down their running back recruiting to a couple guys. So it's pretty interesting there that they might take 2 again. Of course, Sam Williams-Dixon left the program. He jumped in the portal. He said, adios. I'm telling you guys, he got one look at Bo Jackson, and he was out of here. He was gone. Bo Jackson going to be a freshman this year. So, yeah, so some big time recruits going to be in the house on Sunday as well. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. That's about that's about the biggest Buckeye news stuff that there is. Um, got some news, got some rumors there, got some guys coming in for the big party tomorrow. Be on the lookout for two things. Number one, there'll be a video later today. Chris and I interviewed my brother Aaron from Export Mouthguards. You're going to want to watch this interview. Football, this one product is going to change football forever, and it's great. And they are sponsoring the OHIO podcast. Check out that video. They'll be dropping this afternoon. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have a live show at 8 o'clock Eastern. Our sixth annual Buckeye Awards. That is going to be happening tomorrow. Plus, we're going to be talking about faith on this team. Why and how faith was used to help this team get to and win a national championship. That is tomorrow's topic on the OHIO podcast before we have the sixth annual Buckeye Awards as we roll out the scarlet carpet and we hand out the hardware. The only hardware that really matters, right? The OHIO podcast hardware. That's what truly matters. Again, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Have you heard any other rumors, any other news? Let me know down in the comment section below. Again, that'll help us out here at the algorithm. And if you get the chance, go check out the OHIO podcast. Chris has got an article going to be coming up this afternoon as well. You all going to want to read that. It's going to be great. And check out the store. Hit the store link on the website, and all proceeds. That's how I pay for Chris, man. That's how I keep him around here. Is you all purchasing stuff from the store. And if you're a member, email us. Email us at theohiopodcast.com, and we will send you the code that you will need for free shipping. Free shipping from anything purchased in the store if you are a member of the OHIO Podcast YouTube channel, guys. Till next time, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH St. Carmen, Ohio, with all your heart. Go Bucks!